Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll show you how to analyze data with Power Query, Power BI and Power Pivot. I'll start with the blank canvas. So I'll show you my sample dataset. So I'm going to work with this dataset. So this is Melbourne house listing data. So it's a good dataset for practice, not just in Power BI, but even in machine learning. Okay, so I will load my data onto my canvas or onto Power BI and do a bit of cleansing. That's my first objective. So here I will load my data. So in here, the navigator has identified the table as data table. Now from here, I'll pick transform. This is where I'll start my journey. Okay. Now once I'm inside here, the Power Query, I will first clean the data to ensure that the right shape as we want. This is where it's helpful to kind of draw what is happening in the Power BI. What are the stages to which your data undergoes, so that every time you analyze your data, you are thinking along those stages. So I'll quickly explain what is inside the Power BI by using a diagram. So this is simply a drawing on how Power BI looks. So actually we think Power BI is one box, but it's actually more than that. So I'll just assume there are 3 boxes for now. So I have 3 boxes inside. First one, the second, that, then I have my data, so this is my data. So my data goes in to the Power BI. So it goes into the first. So my data goes into the first box. Okay. So this one. So this a receiving part. We can call it another receiving part. This now is called the Power Query. So what the Power Query does, so this is where you are telling your Power Query your data is in SQL Server, your data is in a cloud system, or half of your data is in a cloud system, and many others. Okay. So this way you're going to receive your data. So once the Power Query is done with this job, so your data again goes to the next box. So the next box here is power pivot. You can call it BB. So what the bar pivot does, so it helps you analyze your data, it helps you model your data, it also helps you to analyze your data. So you can calculate your data in here. You can also analyze the data. So that's what the power pivot does. Okay. What is the power pivot done its jobs? The data goes into the next box. So our next box, so technically there's no name for this one, but I can call it the canvas. So what we see on our screen is the canvas of the Power BI. Okay, so this is what we really see. Okay, but for the first and the second are behind the scenes. You cannot actually see what is happening behind the scenes, but on the last box is what we terms as the canvas. So that's where everything is displayed, where you can visualize your data. Now this is just a simple structure, or this is the architect of Power BI. So right now I'm in Power Query. So I'm at this point. Then I move to Power Pivot, and lastly I will now move to the Power BI. Okay. Now that I'm in here, what I want to do is data cleansing. So if you want, or if you look at this shape of data, it doesn't look very good. As you can see, it's not very good. So like we don't need, or I don't need the null column. So this column here is not necessary. Likewise to these rows, the first row, the second, third and fourth. So actually my data really starts or begins from here. So this is where my data begins, from row 5. So I'll take out, so the first thing is that I'll take out by tapping this icon here. So I'll remove, so I'll take out the top rows, the row number 4, the number of rows I'm going to remove is from row 1 to row 4. Click OK. I'll also remove this column here, the nulls. Okay, and then I'll take row 1. So I'll take row 1 and use it as the header. So I just click on it. I click that as an header. Now I need to check on the data type. So that's another form of cleansing. So by default my data type for text is ABC. Okay, for numbers, so my data type So from the look, all the columns have been assigned the correct data types. Now I want to show you other things which are helpful. If I go to view, you'll see these command buttons. So let me go with column distribution. So when I enable the column distribution, to see the sense of what is going on, you realize that a graph is inserted on top. As you can see, there's a graph inserted. Yeah, so that one will give us an insight of what is happening. Like we have 3 distinct, you have 0 uniques. Here we have 1,000 distinct, we have 1,000 unique, 240 distinct, 63, that way. Okay. So the second thing I will show you is the column profile. We also have the column profile. So let me uncheck this. Okay, when I select whichever column, or if I pick any column here, the Power Query will add the column statistics. Like for example, if I pick on this column here, on the price column, as you can see, it tells me the counts are thousands. We have 0 errors. There's no empty space. We have 565 distinct. We have 378 unique. There's no 0. So the minimum price of the house is 145,000. We have the standard deviation and the average is here. We have the even as 1,000 and odds as 0. Okay. So using Power Query, you can do a lot of things. So you can do a lot of this exploratory analysis. Okay. Now I can give so let me check this. So I'm done. So I can give a name to my data. So by default it reads data. So maybe I can replace it to help. So this one is a small. So I'm naming it as help. Okay. Then I hit on. So I click on home and then I close and apply. So the next thing is to close and apply. Okay. So I'm now loading data into Power BI. So let's go now and do a little bit of analysis. So the first thing that I will do here, so I'll play a little bit with my data. Like I can get the count of the number of I can count the number of houses. So I can give a count how many houses. I can also go ahead and do the average price of the houses. So this way I'm getting out of the next So this is where I'm getting out of the first box to the next box. So I'm out of Power Query. I'm now in Power Pivot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new measure to enable me calculate or give the house count. So I'll just right click here, then I select new measure. So the first thing I'm going to do is to count the house, or do the house count. So using the DAX function, I'm going to get the house count by using count rows. So when I count the rows, it will give me the number of records, which is equivalent to the number of houses. So I'll count the rows. So the name of the table is MELP, and I close the bracket. So when I commit my changes, so now the house count is now listed. It's now in my list of data. So I can also go ahead and create a new measure to calculate the average price of the house. And the average price. So here the average. So I'll put the average, I'm doing the average of the, so that's my data table. So I'm doing the average of the price column. So the table I'm working with is the MELP. Then I commit the changes. So when I commit my changes, now the average price is now listed, or it now appears in my list. So I've created the two measures, and they are now added on my data list. So they are now listed as an item. Okay. So I want to look at this SOPAPs. So the SOPs, the words up here, or the SOPAP, the residentials. So let's check on my table. Okay. So I'll first get the counts of SOPAPs. So just select this table. And for that, I want to check or to get the counts. How many counts of the SOPAP or residentials do I have? Okay. So I'm going to use the cut visual. Then I select the SOPAP. Okay, I'm going to select this. So I'm going to add the cut visuals, then the SOPAP. Just no. So I'll do the SOPAP count. So here I'm going to add a new measure to get the number of residentials. So I'm going to add the superb counts. So I'm going to count. So in this case I'm going to use distinct, so that if you have a repetition of to avoid recounting or those houses with duplicates or duplicate names, I'm going to use the distinct count. So I'll use the distinct count, so it will count the superbs. Then I commit the changes. Okay. So now the superb counts has been populated, so it is now listed as an item. Okay. Now, so I want to visualize the house count. So I first want to click on this, then I select the house count. Okay, wait. So I'm going to pick a table, then I select the house count. So I start so before that I want to find out the number of superbs. So in this case you have 276 superbs. Okay, now to get the number of so with the house counts, I also have it's not what I'm looking for. So the house count we have so you have 3,000 counts of the house, then the average price, you have the average price there. You also have the superb. So what I want is the superb, so it is here. So I want the superb name, then followed by the house count. So each superb has got how many counts of the houses, then we get the average price. continue, I can change the layout, the theme. Okay. So as you can see, like this Super P has got 15 counts, and the average price of every house is 1 million. So this one is in dollars, so let me check that, change on that. So the prices, so that one is in dollars, so I can go to average price, then I check on that. So it's $9. Okay, so we have another one here. There's Superb with 43 with an average of 1.7 million. Okay, so the total number of we have 276 Superb is the total count. We have 3,000 households, and the average price is 1,17,409. So this is how the Power BI helps in business analytics. Thank you for watching. See you again in my next video.